Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to all of you. First of all, I would like to congratulate you all for clearing prelims and my best wishes for writing mains in January. This itself is a very big achievement, but the real battle starts now. What I mean by the battle, the real assessment begins now. Now, you will be judged on the merit of your answers in GSN optional. Correct? So, without wasting a moment, let us get into our discussion. So the idea behind this particular video as introduction is to make you clear with this program. Many of you were not clear with the idea and coverage under this program. Hopefully after watching this video things will be clear. So there will be a total of 8 sessions under this program apart from this introduction video. It means that 2 sessions per paper. We have GS paper 1, 2, 3 and 4. So under each paper I'll be covering 2 sessions. Okay, and in case the need be, we can have some more sessions, but we will be trying to cover up our sessions by 10th of December or even before. Okay, moving on. So what should you expect from this program and what you should not expect from this program? So I just wanted to have a little discussion on this. So as you know that importance of writing a thoughtful answer. What is the importance of writing a thoughtful answer? You won't get marks for filling pages. Okay, you should get this in your mind. Filling pages doesn't mean, or it's not directly proportional to marks. So that is why I have mentioned about importance of writing a thoughtful answers. Practically, how much time you have per question? If you see, you have for each paper you have 20 questions, right? So 7-8 minutes, right? So if your thoughts are not streamlined, you will take more time to come up with proper content for your answer. This is the case with every question. Most of the times, demand of the question is not decoded as required, and you end up writing irrelevant stuff. So what is needed? What is needed? Demand means you need to understand the demand of the questions the moment you read the question. Then after you understand the demand of the question, you need to have relevant data. Correct? Then based on the demand of the question, there has to be proper dimension that you should cover, right? And then based on the demand, you need to have proper interconnections. So these are the 4 things that you need to really master to get very good marks in your mains, right? I assume that you all have a strong command on GS papers and have done your proper static level coverage. Otherwise, these sessions will not make more sense to you. It is also expected that you all know how UPSC frames questions. How will you know this? The very basic thing is to go through previous year question papers and try to understand that why and how UPSC is asking such kind of questions, and accordingly you have to make up your mind, and while you study you need to have those things in mind to properly gauge the proper dimensions, interconnections and relevant data. So without these basics, the whole preparation process will be directionless. You will not be able to understand the demand of the examination, and simply put, it will be a waste of your time, despite the fact that you are spending a lot of time in your study and preparing for this examination. Fine. So what should you expect? you should expect good dimensional coverage. Like I'll be telling you the required dimensions in which particular topic or particular theme can be asked. Then I can give you some interconnections. Okay, then I can give you some contemporary data facts which can be directly used in your answer. What you should not expect, you should not expect the static coverage from my side. Okay, I am not going to tell you the background of all the issues or things that we are going to discuss. Okay, and I won't be doing any end-to-end coverage here. So this program is basically on this. Okay, I'll be taking some examples to make you understand this and have this very clear. Okay, now where to focus? The focus should be on understanding the dimensions and interconnections, because here actually the real challenge is, let's say you are preparing current affairs, and you already know that half of paper 1, whole paper 2, paper 3, and many aspects of paper 4, it has a lot of contemporary relevance. Basically in paper 2 and 3 all the question requires contemporary data. So if you're not preparing likewise, and if your preparation is in segregation, right, it will be really difficult to attempt 20 questions within the span of 3 hours maintaining the quality. See, you can write or attempt all the 20 questions, but quality answers will actually give you more edge. This is very obvious, right? So let's say if a question has key terms education, it also has unemployment, and it also has economic growth. So these are the key terms in the question, right? Now using these key terms, 5-6 ways question can be asked, right? So we actually cannot guess exact question of UPSC. This is that will be going too far. But as an aspirant, as a student, you should understand these basic things. These are the things, these are the terms in your syllabus directly given, correct? And on these basic terms only you are preparing datas and content and articles from current affairs. But the problem is, are you able to have a proper interconnections between these three terms? Do you have relevant data to come up with proper interconnections or not? Despite a lot of coverage on these three terms separately or in segregation, many of you won't be able to write a good, justified or satisfactory answer, right? That too within a span of 8 minutes. Now for whole GS papers, you must have such correlations made using the keywords, concepts which can be interconnected or has some relation. This is the best way to prepare. I am not talking about those direct questions which is not based on 3 or 4 separate entities, but basically from current affairs you will have questions on these lines also. Okay, if you see previous year question papers, definitely you will realize this. Okay, now let's say in GS paper 4, okay, if you have a question that asks some examples, basically in GS paper 4, asked or not asked, you need to provide a lot of examples to get good marks. Okay. Now the problem here is that most of the students, they write very common examples. Okay. Common example, by common example I mean that if the question is coming on honesty, you write same old data that you have been getting from some notes or anywhere, like Ashok Khemka, Integrity, Mahatma Gandhi, and all that. So the problem here is a lot of students answering on the same line, right? Data is also common. How can you be different from them? Like that's the point. So since you are studying current affairs from last 1.5 year, or 1 year at least, can't you get or fetch date very relevant data, very contemporary data for all those key terms of ethics? Is it possible? For example, if I say, no, this is just to make sure that you stand different from the crowd. Okay, if you write a really relevant and very contemporary examples, you will definitely have an edge. For example, in ethics, if I talk about courage, power, perseverance, okay, these are the keywords, right? And if you have seen previous year question papers, you will find these keywords very often, right? So if you have to give a very relevant and very apt example of courage, power, and perseverance at the same time, what can be your example, right? So if you have prepared a really unique examples, for example, one example that is coming to my mind is there was a news from Madhya Pradesh. There is a village, okay, where the problem of water or water scarcity was immense. So what happened? A group of 250 local women, okay, they worked rigorously for over 18 months, means 1.5 year, to dig out a hill that was obstructing the water source to the village. Okay. They solved this water problem that they were facing for so many years, and a man-made waterway is created that connects the origin of water source to their village. Now, doing this, these group of women, they showed courage, power, and perseverance, right? And proved that anything can be solved if you have the will to do it. Now, if this example is quoted, this is going to add more value to your answer than a very basic kind of examples or very redundant examples, right? And this storyline or this particular example is very similar to one more example of a guy who is a 70-year-old man from Bihar, who carved out 3-kilometer lake in Gaya for over the period of 30 years. Okay, now taking note of this, the CEO of Mahindra Group, Anand Mahindra, he gifted a tractor to this particular guy, recognizing his efforts. So these kind of examples, if you are writing these kind of examples in ethics, it will fetch you really good marks and you will stand away from the crowd. Okay, let's take some more examples. So this is what we will be doing in our lectures depending on the paper, right? Let us say if you have to give example of, like, normally it is asked that innovation, how public servant, if the keyword is public servant and innovation or creativity, right? If the keyword is public servant, innovation, and creativity, definitely you need to cite example of public servant using innovative ways or creative ways to deal with governance system or administration. So can you give some very relevant example that fits in the demand of these three kind of words or keywords? So recently what happened? Lockdown was going on, right? So there is a IPS officer by the name Tejasvi Gautam. Okay, so during the lockdown period, obviously it was very much required for everyone to be at home and maintain social distancing and all that, right? But the localites, they were not abiding by the rules. Okay, so this IPS officer, she came up with a very creative idea. Rather than creative idea. And what was that idea? She started running live sessions of celebrities who are associated with film, theaters, sports and other spheres. Okay, so now these celebrities started interacting with the local people, and that program started getting live stream from certain time to certain time every day. Okay, and these celebrity also started speaking to local peoples, motivating them, guiding them. They also spoke about sensitive issues. Okay, and then people started listening to it, and the end result was what? All these people who were not initially listening or not abiding by the rule, they were at home aram se. Okay, so this creative idea actually paid off. Initially the other officers, they were trying coercion, forcefully, beating people who were moving out and all that. But all these coercion, forceful beating and all that, it gave no result. Okay, but this creative idea, it gave result immediately, right? So this particular example will actually relate more to the examiner. Okay, this is very a realistic example also. Fine. So this is one way. Now if I ask you, for example, the keyword is human empathy. Okay, the keyword is human empathy. So under human empathy, what will you write? Most of the people nowadays will write about Sonu Sood, what he did. Fine enough. But what I am talking about here is that out of 10, if 8 people are writing Sonu Sood and 2 people are writing something really unique, chances किसके ज़्यादा है marks लाने के? Now such examples should appeal to examiner more. Okay, let me give you one example of human empathy. In recent time, there was a plane accident in Kerala, right? When? During the time of COVID. Now all the local people, they rushed to the spot, risking their life and started helping the survivors. Okay, or the people at the accident spot. They didn't think twice before risking their life, not only from the accident spot, but also from coronavirus. And what was the consequence? 24 or 25 people who actually went to help people there, they got corona positive. So this is a sheer example of human empathy. Such kind of examples will relate more, okay, will add more value to your answer. So this is one way. Let's say you have in paper 1 or in paper 3, both places this can be asked, or already asked in paper 1, about water scarcity and groundwater depletion, right? India's status. What is the status of India? Now under this, there can be many facts, there can be numerous data and facts and figures, but there are certain things that you have to keep note here. For example, if solutions are asked, what can be done, right? Takeaways, or in conclusion, what are you going to write? If specifically you are asked to provide innovative or creative ideas to deal with the problem, what are you going to write? Okay. For example, the data is like let's say there was a study conducted by WHO and UNICEF that said 2/3 of India's 718 districts are affected by extreme water depletion. Extreme water depletion. Now let's say that this one fact is international fact. Do you have any Indian fact? Right. So Indian fact क्या हो सकता है? So in one of the reports of Niti Aayog, it said that 21 major cities poised to run out of groundwater by certain year. ठीक है. This is one. Now, in 2019, there was a severe water crisis in Chennai. You must be aware, right? Groundwater depletion. India's groundwater, which makes up to 40% of country's water supply. 40% of country's water supply. This is getting affected because of groundwater depletion. Correct? India is one of the 17 countries in the world with extreme high water stress. Water stress. Extreme high water stress. This is by World Resource Institute. So these kind of facts. Now these are the facts with respect that is actually justifying that there is a crisis. Fine enough. Now if you have to give some innovative measures, what should you write? For example, there is a organization by the name Safe Water Networks, जिसको हम बोलते हैं SWN. It's an NGO. ठीक है. This organization has set up 24/7 water ATMs in local areas, in rural areas, in urban areas where water scarce or water scarcity is there. ठीक है. Now this is one innovative way. Now this particular effort is mobilizing how many things? Can you have more number of interconnections here or not? Local people who are handling, these ATMs are getting jobs, right? It is also helping, other self-help group or women related organization who are taking up safe water network, ठीक है, joining with them. It is also helping in women empowerment, right? The moment it helps in women empowerment, it is also helping in so many other aspects, like reduction in loss of work days for daily wage earners, obviously increasing girl child school participation, because now they're not, if you have read any case study with respect to areas like Rajasthan and even in Bihar and UP, women and girl child, they are more involved in daily core activities, right? Home based, and water is one among them. They have to travel long distances, just to fetch water. If such water ATMs are provided, what will happen? These girls can spend time in studying, right? Isn't it? I hope I am making sense. So this is nothing but creating more dimensions. Okay. Now a safe water, what it provides, the World Bank, one of the World Bank estimates says that 21% of communicable diseases in India are linked to unsafe water and lack of hygiene practices. So if good and healthy water system is there, what will happen? Communicable diseases, other aspects or other health related parameter, this will get improved. Correct? So these are some of the examples that I wanted to discuss. Now going ahead, in mains answer writing, these are the three basic things that everyone knows, right? Ki in an ideal scenario, every answer has introduction, body and conclusion. Correct? Now based on the facts, the understanding of the subject matter, right, and relevant data, you will not have a problem in writing an introduction, writing an introduction. The moment you will see keyword, let's say that example of unemployment, poverty and economic growth. ठीक है. So these are the three keywords, and definitely, you can have certain facts that link poverty with unemployment, so you can start with that as an introduction. There can be certain aspect that can relate economic growth with unemployment, or vice versa, for example poverty and economic growth. So you definitely can write a good introduction, so don't worry about writing or forcing yourself on introduction. It should depend actually on the demand of the question. Okay. Now body will depend on the demand of the question anyway. Okay, what is actually asked. For example, a question can have two parts, or it can have three parts, or it can simply be a statement, quote unquote, and you are asked to discuss or comment or likewise. So body depends on these things. Okay. Conclusion. Not all, in ideal scenario you can write a conclusion, but not all the questions are to be answered in the way that you write conclusion always. It depends on the question. Okay. So you will see the question, you will understand, okay, what kind of conclusion can you write. Now so I suggest you not to focus on mugging articles. Okay. Don't go through a lot of articles, okay, and lot of notes, lot of datas and all that. What you have to actually do is open the main syllabus, okay, then find the keywords. For example, in current affairs, find poverty, okay, then population. This is also given in your GS paper 1. Unemployment, right? Then social issues, GS paper 1. Relate this with economy. Now all the angle of GS paper 1 is also covered, and it is also covered with respect to paper 3, so that interconnection can happen. It's not always that कि GS पेपर 1 में है तो GS पेपर 2 में नहीं होगा, या GS पेपर 3 में नहीं होगा. Nothing like that. But one thing that you have to actually make sure is that if the question is asked from societal perspective in GS paper 1, then you have to focus more on the social angle. Don't write economic angle there, like, or you can just give a passing reference, but don't mold your answer completely or tilt your answer on the economic side. Focus should be more on social angle. Okay. If the question is asked in economy, for example, if agriculture related thing or agriculture related based question is asked with interconnections of economy, then you have to focus on economic aspect. But if agriculture and resource allocation or resource location based question is asked in GS paper 1, then more focus should be on geographical aspect. Okay. So this you have to understand to fetch more marks. So this is one mistake that people do, which you should not repeat. Now the next thing I want to discuss is, in the end, what is your aim, or what actually you are aspiring. Obviously scoring good marks, right? And you only have 2 months left. So do you think that the way you are studying, the way you are consolidating your mains, are you going to do really good? This you have to ask yourself, like how you are preparing, what is your focus, where is your focus, right? So will you be able to consolidate everything the way you are doing or not? That answer has to come from your side. Okay. For example, that one keyword that I had taken, for example, initially I spoke about educated youth. Let's say educated youth is one keyword, then unemployment is one keyword, and then economic growth is one keyword. ठीक है. Now here, if I have to ask you that, can you write a very good introduction for this using minimum number of words? So the keywords are educated youths. Obviously, we have a huge, chunk of educated youth. Parallelly, we have unemployment. Sorry. Okay, and we have had a very good economic growth before Corona also. Now, can you write a good introduction? What happened? Yeah. One thing I actually forgot to discuss is you have 150 words for 10 markers and 15 markers के लिए you have 250 words, and you have to write within the word limit. UPSC has started giving negative marks for consuming more words, so you have to be really cautious here. Okay, so that is why I'm asking, if you have to write a good introduction, how long can your introduction be if the answer requires only 150 words, because you have to focus more on the demand, that is body of the answer. So let's say if the keyword is educated youth is there, unemployment is there, economic growth is there, how can you write a good introduction consuming very less number of words? So let's say India's unemployment rate was at around 40% or 45 year high, okay, at around 6.1% as per NSSO, which got worsened due to ongoing pandemic and continuously falling GDP. I'm repeating it. India's unemployment rate was at a 45-year high at 6.1% as per NSSO, which got worsened due to ongoing pandemic and continuously falling GDP. So in this introduction, we have consumed close to around 22 to 23 words only. Now the point here is, we have used two keywords, unemployment, right? Even we have used a data from NSSO, and we have used GDP, means economic growth also. Now moving on, if these three keywords are there, you can talk about some facts with respect to how India has a huge chunk of educated youth, and the economic growth is actually a jobless growth since so many years it is the case. So using certain data, you can definitely answer the question well. Now I was discussing about the aim. So your aim is to score good marks, correct? So to score good marks, you need consolidation of whatever you study, right? And since you only have 2 months, this consolidation has to be really smooth, right? So by smooth, I mean you see the question, you have the storyline in your mind, you understand the demand immediately, you recollect all relevant data immediately, you establish proper interconnections and dimensions, and you write a good answer within the stipulated time of 8 minutes or even less, 7 minutes. So this is what is required to write or perform well in mains. ठीक है. Now keep these things in mind. to get a good understanding of the subject matter, ठीक है, understanding अच्छी होनी चाहिए. Then you should have as many as interconnections possible, you know, in your mind. So interconnections जितना ज़्यादा होगा उतना अच्छा होगा. Then relevant facts and figures, obviously facts and figures, and writing the demand of the question directly within word limit. These are the things for a good mains answer. ठीक है. So in the next 8 videos or more, we'll be covering all these dimensions, okay, all these interconnections, all those dimensions, and under those dimensions we'll try to come up with relevant datas, relevant facts and figures, reports, how it can be used, some cases, right, more and more examples, correct. So you know, I will request you guys that, yeah, there was a request from you know, few students that please let us know what you are going to cover in the upcoming sessions. For example, this is the introduction session. Let's say our next session will happen on 5th of November, okay, so that will be GS paper 1. So I'll take certain topics. For example, let's say I'll write it down: salient features of Indian society and diversity of India. This is one topic. Then I'll take role of women, okay, and women organizations. Then population related issues and population plus associated issues. Then poverty and developmental issues. Okay, so these are the things I'll be covering in the first session of GS paper 1. And in the next session we can cover urbanization, globalization, and other aspect of social empowerment, communalism and regionalism, etc. Some geography is also there. So in the next session, what you do, you consolidate these things like salient features of Indian society from contemporary point of view only. Okay, so what you can do, you can also revisit your static coverage, just brush up, revise it. Then the topics of the discussion will be salient features of Indian society, diversity of India, role of women and women's organization, population and associated issues, poverty and developmental issues. So these things we will be covering in the first session. Okay, one more thing I would like to tell you here is previous year questions. Definitely visit previous year questions. It will give you a very good idea about, you know, how and why UPSC is asking such kind of questions. As I said, not every time you'll find, not all the questions will be very you know, key term oriented or very direct the way you have thought. Sometimes questions are really unique, it is very thought provoking, and it's very, you know, new aspect, new in the sense ki, which you will not actually make out while you study that okay, such kind of questions can be asked. But definitely UPSC is UPSC, so you know, they will frame such questions just to, you know, create an easiness, so that, you know, while you see the question in the examination hall, that you know, the way you react to the question also defines how you are going to attempt the question. If you see the question and you are confident, that shows that you know the content properly. But if you see the question and you are getting disturbed, that oh, I don't have any idea how to attempt this, then what happens, it also reflects in your you know, rest of the questions. So this is also one of the idea to, you know, create that uneasiness. But those students who are not bogged down by such questions definitely perform well. So with this I would like to end my discussion here. So I hope that the intention behind this program is clear by now, and you guys understand that what and in, you know, which manner we are going to cover these sessions. So again, reiterating it, we will have 8 sessions after this. Okay, so first, let's say the first session is on 5th of November, and I'm not giving you exact dates, so that, you know, I just want to finish it off by November end only. but tentatively we can cover all the 8 sessions by 10th of December. Hope that we will be doing it by the end of November only. But the sequence in which we will go, it will be GS paper 1. I have already given you the topics. Next topic of GS paper 2 I'll give in this lecture, and likewise I'll give, suppose this is GS1, then GS2, then GS3, and then GS4 we will cover. Okay, again we will come to GS1 and repeat the same process. So by this 8 videos will be done.